Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
But
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know. I mean, apparently I'm not. Wait, okay. Take two. It sounds like a take two. It's Sober, Not Mature. God damn it.
Yeah. We've only done 120 some episodes. Think you know the name of the thing by now.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but there was one other time when my voice cracked at the beginning of it, and I wasn't even on the phone all day today. I was out in the woods, and hey, good news, everyone! I did not get eaten by a bear. I had no incidences. I'll talk about today later, but yeah, I did not get eaten by a bear. As Mike and I were talking, I said I didn't get eaten by a bear or anything else, so that's a good thing. And your answer was, or your response?
It depends on who's doing the eating.
Right. So
I didn't be such a good thing.
Right. So yeah, I didn't get. I did not get eaten by anything or anybody. How's that?
All right. Well, you know, you win some, you lose some.
I know. Yeah, literally, as the saying goes, it's a sales saying. Every once in a while, I use it in the collection side of it too. Is sometimes the bear eats you, and sometimes you eat the bear, and neither one happened today. So no eating of any bears or bears eating me. So all good.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's fucking 4th of July weekend again. I don't think we even mentioned that. I mean, not that it's a big deal, because our answer to every fucking holiday is the same, right?
Well, actually, right, just another day, right? And most of them are made up. This one's actually, it does commemorate an actual event, so that's kind of
right.
But yeah, but again, it's just another day on the calendar.
Right. But I mean, as far as when it comes to, a sober thing and people getting all, it's the holiday weekend. A lot of people had off today, and, so 4-day weekend, and people out there, woohoo.
Yeah.
Woo, drinking and woohooing and,
Yes,
acting a fool. So,
right.
Yeah. But when it comes down to that,
blowing
I mean, it's
shit up.
Right. Yeah, I'll talk about the fireworks around here too. But so yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's by the time people are listening to this, it's going to be at a minimum July 6th, obviously Saturday. But hey, it's the entire weekend, so no need to treat it like any other thing. And if you have events that you are, we're planning on going to, and you're unsure, we always say, Mike always says specifically, is that you know what, you always got next year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Always have next year, and if you are going to go, have an escape plan.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Be able to skedoodle, skedoodle or skedaddle. And once again, we talk about that all the time. To this day, I think both of us still do that. And there's been very, very, I think we've said it before, the only circumstances that we haven't had a way out individually is when we've been together.
Right.
Because it's this thing of it is, man, if you start acting a fool and you decide to get drunk, I'm leaving. So I mean, I don't give a fuck.
Right. There goes my ride. Oh well.
Yeah, exactly. Have fun there, drunk boy.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think so. Not today.
Right, exactly. But yeah, same in return. I know that I would not only get the same result, but actually deserve the same result. So there.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Right. So, well, like I said, I got a bunch of stuff on here. Obviously we can talk about, but I don't know. What do you think? I mean, at this time, what do we normally do now? Do a reading? We should do a reading.
I believe we probably should do a reading.
let's do that. Roll.
Right,
Blah.
because
Roll.
clearly, when we're left to our own devices, we just sit here and ramble on about nothing at all. So let's.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. 4 minutes into the podcast, and yeah, let's get some structure back. Okay. All right.
Okay, sounds
Back to
good.
you, Mike.
Why, thanks, Bill. This is from Keep It Simple, and it's from today. Read it this morning and went, this one ain't bad. I think I'll do it tonight, and so that's what I'm gonna do. July 5th from Keep It Simple. If at first you don't succeed, you're running about average. M.H. Anderson. I tried to look him up and Google wasn't very helpful to me for once. So screw it. I don't know who this guy is, but yeah, that's his quote. All right, here's the reading. Our program speaks of spiritual progress, not perfection. Clearly, we can take all the time we need. Our bottom line is steady progress. We can ask ourselves, am I a little more spiritual than I was a year ago, a month ago, or a day ago? If the answer is yes, then we're doing great. If the answer is no, then we should look at why. Our illness pushes us to be perfect. In recovery, we learn that we are free to be just what we are, humans. Even if the world's fastest runners are average in most other areas of our lives, even the most, whoa, let me do that again, because um, even the world's fastest runners are average in most other areas of their lives. That makes more sense. This is okay. Remember, spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection. Clearly, that goes for reading too. Prayer for the day. Higher power, I'll not be ashamed of how average I am. I'll remember I'm average, and that's good. Action for the day, those pesky actions. I'll list what is average about me. I'll share this with a friend. Then I'll ask my friend what is special about me. That I won't do.
First of all, I was giggling through as you were kind of
Yes.
fumbling over that because
Uh huh.
yeah, this what are we at 6 minutes and 20 seconds so far. Fucked up the intro. I'm bumbling
Mm-hmm.
all over myself. You
Mm-hmm.
can't fucking read a book. We're in
Right.
good shape right now. So
We're doing great, but
yeah,
we're doing a little bit better than we were yesterday. So what the hell?
yeah, and you know what? I that's one of the things I wrote down. And first of all, I like that reading. I read that this morning, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna pick something out of there and post it, but I actually posted something from A Day at a Time. Something stuck out for me a little bit more on
Right.
that than this one, but I like the opening quote. I mean, basically, saying that yeah, I mean, we're running about average.
Right.
In that's there's nothing wrong with that. And the couple of things that the reading talked about is our disease, either wanting or striving for perfection. Is
Mm-hmm.
that how that was? And that was
Yeah.
kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about because I mean I'm still a perfectionist. I think you
Mm.
are to a certain
Mm.
extent, I guess
Mm.
too. Or
I mean, clearly not as much as I used to be.
right.
Right. Well, I mean, I use that perfectionism bullshit as an excuse not to do anything, right? Because like, if I can't do it perfectly, and clearly I can't, because I'm a fucking human. Um, right. So if I can't do it perfectly, then I won't do it at all. I just won't even try. Right. So if I don't try, then I can't fail, and if I don't fail, then I'm not a failure. That was my screwed up thinking back in ye olden days. Um, right. And, I mean, I used to talk about this in group all the time, and it's before I read this book. But yeah, I mean, I fail every day, and that's okay. That means that I'm trying. I'm not saying I completely fail. I succeed at plenty of stuff, and I do just average it lots more. But yeah, I fail. I fall short every day, and that's okay. Because if I'm failing, I'm trying. and that means I'm taking action and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And so, yeah, that's, I don't mind falling short today. I don't mind failing it again, but I don't use it as an excuse anymore not to do anything. Well, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do that, so I just won't do anything. Um, yeah, and I'll live my life that way today. I go out and I do the best I can, and yeah, sometimes I make it, and sometimes I don't, and whatever. That's what tomorrow's for.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I know I'm still a bit of a perfectionist, but I think that
Hmm.
goes along with my egotism too. It's those
Sure.
two come in, they're they're friends.
Hmm.
They're friendly with each other, and it's things that I need to be, I mean, very mindful of, because the perfection. You're exactly right. I know I was the same way. It's like, well, fuck it. I mean, I know it's not going to work, or it's not going to
Hmm.
work the way it needs to, or the way I want
Mm.
it to. So,
Hmm.
fuck it. I'm not even going to do it, or not going to try. But
Right.
then again, it goes back to, and I think we talked about this before, is, I mean, there's fear for most people. I mean, even non-alcoholics and addicts, when it comes to failure, and I think a lot of people look at it that way, whereas, I mean, it doesn't have to be a colossal failure, like you said. And
Right.
I like the term, and you used it a couple of times, falling short versus
Hmm.
failure,
Right.
because that's really what it is. And that's really what this whole thing we do, whether it's in something actually in Alcoholics Anonymous, or something we just learned, throughout meetings. But
Hmm.
it's talked about all the time, as far as falling short.
Hmm.
But I mean, to your point exactly, that the only way we get better at things, and do things and continue to grow, is to try things. And yeah, I mean, rarely, I mean, every once in a while, I'll jump out of the gate on whatever it is, and I get it right the
Hmm.
first time, and it's like, fuck,
Sure.
that's kind of cool.
Right.
But I can't have this, literally the fucking delusion that
Mm.
that's going to happen every time. I'm okay with being average. I was an average student. I was
Hmm.
an average athlete. I was kind of an average at pretty much anything in my life. I haven't necessarily, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I've necessarily completely 100% excelled in any particular things. I'm
Hmm.
decent at a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I don't know that I can't pick out one thing that's like, oh, that thing I always do fucking perfect.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. No, nothing. Right, exactly. That's kind of the whole point. There is nothing we do perfectly.
Right.
Never. Yeah, but you're right. Like you said, yeah, there's some stuff I'm good at. There's some stuff I'm pretty damn good at. Right. There are a few things. But yeah, most of it, I'm pretty average, occasionally below average. Um, thankfully, I yeah, there's not too much that I have to do that I'm really shitty at. So that's a good thing. That's one of
Right.
those things to be grateful for. Something that whatever, for a job or for relationships or whatever, something that I have to do. There isn't anything that I'm complete garbage at. So yeah, that's good. And like you said, most of it's I'm average. I'm okay. Little above, sometimes a little below, but that's fine.
Right. And yeah, I mean, obviously the term progress, not perfection, was in there. We use that all the time, and we know that that's what we're supposed to strive for. And it
Hmm.
talked about steady progress,
Right.
and hopefully, we are better than we were, again, yesterday, a month ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. I
Hmm.
mean, that's to us, and that's what we were taught, which is, I mean, it's an easy thing to take from the Alcoholics Anonymous thing, or the recovery
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
And I mean, if we're foolish if we don't put it into daily life, that's saying, okay, so yeah, maybe I'm not, 100% of, again, not perfection, but I'm not really good at this thing, but I'm better than I was a year ago, a month ago,
Yep.
even yesterday,
Hmm.
and it's that steady progress. And same thing we were talking about, last week, with the escalator, and going backwards, and sitting still, and all those sort of things. The only way, I mean, it's so, this program, we always talk about it, this whole recovery thing, again, whether it's AA or you're doing another thing, it doesn't really fucking matter. The nice thing about this is that, you can build on, each day, number one, but on top of that too, is over time it becomes habit. But the
Hmm.
key there is that we can't stop. We've said that 1,000 times. You say that
Right.
in your lead all the time, just don't stop.
Hmm.
And even if you only do what you did yesterday, because
Right.
yesterday I stayed sober. If I stay
Yeah.
sober today, I don't hurt anyone, I don't fuck around with things, I don't do anything, I don't ruin anyone's, time or existence or life or whatever the deal is, then I'm at least I'm on the same pace, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah, and try to get a little better. And I mean, it's like you said, yeah, some of it gets easier. Well, it's like anything else. You practice, you build a muscle, you make it stronger. You stop working that muscle, it's going to get weaker. If you continue to use it, it's going to get stronger. Not instantly, but it's slowly, and if you maintain it, at least you're going to keep that strength up for today, and hopefully make it a little stronger tomorrow. And that's what all of this is, man. It's just practicing it and working it and getting a little bit better and making it strong.
Right. And the last thing that I wrote down was not being ashamed of average. I know that was in the reading, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what we were talking about. Is that I mean, there is nothing wrong with being middle of the road. Kind
Right.
of under the radar. I don't necessarily need to be a shining star. Again, goes back to my egotism. I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that to begin with, and it's great. I love to be. When from a work standpoint, I don't want to be in the middle of the pack, because it means I'm not going to be. There's more things along with it, because I mean, it
Sure.
probably means I'm not going to hit my goal. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing the job I need to do, or living up to my potential type of thing. But on
Right.
top of that, too, it has to do with my income. But um, it'd be a different story. I mean, if there were, and there aren't like whatever there is, 7 or 8 people in our group. If
Mm-hmm.
4 people that were just crazy fucking good, and I mean they've been
Mm-hmm.
there for a long time, and there's no way I can touch them, and I came in number 5 every month, I'd be okay with that.
Right. Right.
Well, I don't know, but again, it's the same thing we were talking about. When I wasn't, I was getting upset with where my position in my job was, or my earnings, and where I didn't hit the goal and stuff like that. And then it comes down to, if we're ashamed of being average, or we're not happy with the progress that we're making, that steady
Mm.
progress, then it comes into the lack of gratitude. And that's all
Oh,
fucked up.
absolutely.
You know?
Right. And it gets back to the whole better than worse than shit too,
Right.
Right. I'm better than that, I'm worse than that, and blah blah. I'm not, that's why I love calling myself a garden variety drunk, who did a bunch of dope. Um but I mean that's it's really my favorite description of myself. That's what I am. I wasn't some spectacular fucking, drug dealing, blah blah blah, whatever, badass out on the streets, bitches and hoes and cars and all that, none of that shit, man. It's a garden, and I also wasn't, I mean, yes, there were points in my life where my name wasn't on a lease, I really didn't have anywhere that was mine that I stayed. I never slept outside, not really. Maybe once or twice, weird circumstances where, but I mean, yeah, I wasn't that bad, but I wasn't that great. I'm a garden variety drunk, man. I'm a fucking alcoholic who drank a lot, and it all comes down to root of my problem is selfishness and self-centeredness. There wasn't any spectacular highs, there weren't any spectacular lows. I'm fucking right there in the middle, man. And
Right.
yeah, which means that the solution is the same for all of us.
Right. Yeah. And that is the thing, though, that and I know that society and social media, and it's been that way for. I mean, social media has taken things in a, I don't know, I was going to say a different direction. Not really. It's just a different way to present, the materialism that's out there, and
Mm-hmm.
the less
Mm-hmm.
than or better than stuff. And I mean, granted, it's more in our face than it was when we were kids.
Sure.
From that standpoint, more volume, I guess, if you want to put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, it's louder, right?
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, 'cause you can't go on, I mean, social media without, I mean, just, and that's the thing. So many people don't realize, or don't want to realize, for whatever reason, that
Mm,
usually social media is just a little snapshot it's a highlight reel. I heard
right.
somebody
Of
say that
course.
recently, and it's a great way to put it, because two of the reasons that, and I've never done it, with the exception, I think the only, I don't want to say negative thing, but the probably the biggest down thing that I've ever posted on social media was when, all the stuff we posted after mom died.
Right.
And but we took that, and we I think, at least the intention was,
Mhm.
to take that as and use it as a learning experience for us and for other people.
Right.
That was the mindset behind it. But I've never gone on there, and I've had some days that have been completely motherfucking just fucked up,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
go on social media and say, "Jib, jib, jib, my whoever it is," my brother, well, I don't have a brother, but my sister, my kids, my this, my ex, whatever.
Mhm.
Even if something is happening with that, I just
Mm.
it's airing out. It used to be that's years ago. Don't air out your dirty laundry,
That's right.
and
Right.
it
And there's
happens
a
so
whole
much.
industry on it now.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know,
Right,
and
and
it's
the other thing about all that crap is, hey, guess what? Just like any other media, it's not fucking real, you know?
right.
Movies, television, radio, none of it's fucking real. It's a little sliver of reality, and then it's that sliver is taken and enhanced. It's the same with social media, but it's not fucking reality, kids, any of it. So don't forget that, you know? They're filming Superman here in Cleveland. Guess what? Superman's not real.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know. I know. Clark Kent, is, but Superman's not.
Right, right. But I mean, shit. Even probably this. I mean, well, I mean this podcast probably is as raw as the two of us. We go we get as open and as
Mhm.
raw as we're willing to do in a social setting on this thing.
Right.
And the same way, we're not going to air. Well, we probably air a couple more things than we do
Mhm.
just in posts, on here.
Sure.
But I mean, I think at least I hope that people are getting to know the real us,
Mhm.
the real average us. And yeah, I mean, shit. Speaking of average, this podcast is average at best. I mean, yes,
Mm.
but I mean, it's too hard to compare a podcast because you remember the one time that when we were looking at based on the longevity now, because coming up on 2.5 years,
Right.
so that's I mean we're way ahead. We're like in the top, I think the top 10%
Sure.
of podcasts out there because most people don't go a year, let alone two. So
Mhm.
we have that. So we just
Which
we
is
stuck
nice.
around. Yeah, which is nice. So we just stuck around long enough. But
Yeah.
again, listener base and things like that, all the sort of things. We don't have the numbers, but we have the people that are genuine and loyal, which is what we're trying to be. I think. So
Mhm.
I guess it fits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, it's kind of what we are, right? We're consistent and we're average and we're tenacious, if nothing else.
Right. Yeah, one way or the other. I mean, like that motherfucker that first year, 90% of podcasts fail. That was our fuel.
Right. Well, yeah, that's 95% of sobriety doesn't make it. So yeah, same shit, man. We'll show you spite pizza and making our beds. That's it.
Yeah, and that God, I still I can't remember how long ago it was now when that guy approached me again. Sent me an email or something like that, trying to get us to, hey, would you like to do this? I'm like, I remember you, you fucking prick.
Yep.
But no, anyhow, so that was a good reading. I like that one, and
Hmm.
really, I mean, what it all boils down to is that it's just consistency. It's doing the same thing every day and just trying to, as you always say, trying to make our little corner of the world a better place, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. And it's kind of nice being in the middle. It's well, we talk plenty about balance on this thing. Yeah, and that's just it, man. I don't want to be the greatest. I don't want to be the worst. And hey, guess what? I am neither of those things and never will be. So I embrace my averagism.
Embrace your averagism. I like that. Let's
Hmm.
kids look that up. If anyone can find that word anywhere, averagism. I like it though.
Yes.
But I was going to tell you when we first started. After I got everything all set up, I lost my internet connection here for like I don't know. It was only like 10 seconds or something like that. But I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It hasn't. Obviously, it was only the one time after I set up. But just kind of a heads up. I was going to tell you that in case something popped out. But
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you more about this place in a minute. But so are we good? Are we good on the reading? Everything kind of covered on
I believe we've averagely covered it.
that? We've hit our average conversation on it, right?
Hmm.
So, and I just remembered about it with the weekend. Did you say that you were going to be? Were you in a parade? or going to a parade?
I was in a parade yesterday,
Okay,
4th
well,
of July.
I'm putting my pen down. I want to hear about this one.
I mean, it's not a huge thing. Um, it's fairly average. No, it was Chris, as I've talked about, my girlfriend. She works for the city of Cleveland now. She's been there about 6 months or so, and the biggest, I mean, there's lots of little parades all over the Cleveland area for the 4th of July. But the main one in Cleveland is over here on the west side, Camps Corners. And yeah, there's a contingent of city workers that march as a group. And Chris signed up for it, and she volunteered me to do it as well. So
Uh,
I, I got a nifty dark blue City of Cleveland T-shirt out of the deal, and I got to throw candy at kids' heads. So that as we marched, it was pretty damn fun. Yeah, it was like about a mile and a half long, and it took us a little over an hour to do. And yeah, it was, we got there early in the morning, and it was hot and muggy and nasty out. But at least the sun wasn't beating on us. It was slightly cloudy, and yeah, it was fun. Like I said, we had tons of bags of candy, and that's what we did. We walked and marched and waved and threw candy at kids.
so on that, are well, clearly, I mean, I know the answer because you just said it, but in I know in parades in Wisconsin, in at least
Uh-huh.
in the communities around Milwaukee,
Right.
um, throwing candy was banned a while
Ah.
ago.
Mm.
Because they again, I don't know if kids were getting hit in the eyes or whatever the case was.
Chris hit a kid and it stuck in her glasses. It was pretty damn funny.
Yeah, but I mean, they used to, all the parades, and it probably, I'm trying to think, handful of years ago, at a minimum now, shit, it might even be longer than that. But so basically, what they'll do is, they'll just kind of walk along and they'll kind of like dump some on the street, not in the
Right.
middle, but
Mhm.
towards the curb, and then the kids have to
Right.
run out like a bunch of fucking
Well,
ants or something
that
like
was
that.
that was mostly what we were doing. I mean, we weren't, I said we were throwing them at kids, and I did throw them kind of directly sometimes, but yeah, that was mostly toss them towards. They were, lined up on the curbs and stuff. So yeah, it was curb gutter kind of action, but yeah, I got a few shots in. It was fun.
Yeah, it just it is cool. I mean, just being I don't know. I haven't been to there. I know some people. I've met people that just either really love parades or
Hmm.
fucking hate them. There
Right.
doesn't like seem to be an average. Getting back to that, but
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of an average one when it comes to parades. When I was drinking, there was this one in Menominee Falls
Hmm.
where Dawn and I lived, and where you and I had dinner at that Greek restaurant
Right.
when you were up there.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, not only Menominee Falls, but right there in that there's a grocery store parking lot right across the street from that.
Hmm.
That's where a lot of the people used to set up. That was like the center of the, like the parade area. But
Hmm.
that parade, it is kind of a big deal. It's a big parade. There's a lot of people. People come in, and I mean, there's tons. I mean, thousands of fucking people there.
Hmm.
Um, but the way they used to do it was you could go up, like so. 4th of July was on a Thursday. I think as of the way it used to be, it's like as of I don't know Wednesday morning, you could
Hmm.
like stake out your place,
Mm.
and it was crazy because you'd go along there and it was always on the I'm sorry, it was on the 3rd of July. Did they have no, I'm sorry, they did have it on the 4th. Either way. But so you could stake all this shit out, like whatever it was, a day and a half early. And it was crazy, So the one time when Dawn and I were together, I was working remotely and I went up there and same thing, fucking sticks and stakes and fucking rope and while we were at that time, I mean, I was still drinking, so it was like, we'd bring up a bunch of booze, we sit around,
Hmm.
and I had these, like when the kids were little, I had these remote control cars, were busted remote control cars once they closed the road. It was a party, same thing in Sussex where her parents lived. Um, and I think I went to one, maybe two in Germantown. And the one
Uh-huh.
time I just went up to the one in Germantown because Dawn and Corey went up there, and Derek was there, and they had the dog, and I just walked up the street and hung out with them. I didn't really care much about the parade, it's just hanging
Right.
out with people. I think,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a parade. Oh, band years ago.
Right.
Washington D.C. We marched in the cherry blossom parade, which was kind of fun.
Ah, that's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember how we even got invited out there, but yeah, our entire band went out there. It was again probably kind of a big deal, I suppose, at the even
Yeah.
now these days. But it was fun. We got a trip to D.C. out of it. So
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was, there was a couple bands, marching bands, and there was, the scouts and some local businesses. Of course, all the local politicians had their contingencies and, blah,
right,
blah, blah. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
that's cool.
Probably do it again next year.
You're funny. I'd probably do it again next year. But no, I mean, I think that's not only cool, but I think it's I don't know. Would you consider that a way of giving back? I mean, whether it's to to Chris or the city, maybe not the city directly, but doing something
Yeah.
for somebody else, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, she was thanking me for coming out, and I was just like, "You do my crap, I'm going to do your crap. That's how this works."
Yeah, that whole give and take, right?
That's right. Yeah,
So
and and being part of the community, sure. What the hell, man? I get to do that now. I'm a fucking citizen these days. Right. Tax paying, land owning white male.
right. So did you do any fireworks or no? Or they
No, no,
did you
I
say
mean,
no? Oh, okay.
no, I don't. No, I didn't. Actually, Lydia was out with a friend of hers out east, and Chris just went home and did some yard work and stuff. And I laid here and watched the baseball game, and went and got myself a chili dog, and yeah, yippee, waved a flag, and I was done. Um, Now, didn't do shit. I had to work today, and it was a Thursday. I just happened to have that day off. So, yeah, yeah. No, I didn't do anything. I didn't even. I literally, it was kind of rainy last night. So, I mean, because
Oh,
here in Cleveland, the big ones over the lake, the big fireworks displays over the lake. I haven't gone to that in shit 12 years. And Yeah, in the neighborhoods, I mean, people blow off all kinds of shit, and I'll usually step out on my back balcony and watch the stuff around the neighborhood. I didn't even bother with that last night. I can hear them, and I've seen fireworks before.
right.
Yeah, I was good.
Well, there was a place that I had I guess kind of mapped it out before I came down here when I had first booked this place. I don't know. I was looking up something and I saw the community events. I'm like, oh, it didn't look like it was that far. And when I got down here, first of all, when I got down here yesterday, it for whatever reason, and I mean, it was 9 hours. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but it seemed long.
Hmm.
But it's like the last three trips I've taken. I went to Iowa. There was four. I was in Wisconsin, and I was out by out Cleveland for Founder's Day. So
Right.
you're talking 4 to 5 hour trips. I haven't done a long one in a while. I'm like, God damn, this is a fucking long drive, which it wasn't, But
Right.
as I started to get down here, I'm like, man, it's fucking hot. It was no shit. It was a fucking 100 degrees by the time I got down here.
Mm.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, because I'm looking at the temperature on my car. I'm like, that can't be fucking right. And then I pulled it up on the weather. I'm like, oh yeah, it sure as fuck was. But and it was hot last night. It cooled down. It was, I don't know, probably in the mid 80s today, so comfortable. I mean, not as bad. But I went up. I went and grabbed some food at the grocery store, and came back and cooked my dinner. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna go try to see a sunset. I'm like, fuck these fireworks. I'm not gonna try to dick
Hmm.
around with traffic or whatever, or even try to walk over and figure out where that goes. So took a little bit of a drive. It didn't. It was got overcast, so I didn't see the sunset. But by the time I got back here, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, as I was pulling into the street where this is, which is like 3 blocks down, where like one of the main roads is,
Hmm.
people are kind of like posted up in this parking lot and they'll cross this other thing, and I'm like, oh shit, you just sit there because the other place was like a 15-minute walk where they're shooting them off.
Right.
So I just walked down. I mean, they weren't supposed to start until like 9:30. So
Sure.
I'm just sitting here and thinking, do I want to do it? And it's like 8:30 or quarter to 9, and then I hear it again in the neighborhood. There's fucking fireworks going off all over in the neighborhood.
Hmm.
All good, it's fine. Um, but then I start hearing bigger ones, and I kind of look out. I'm like, fuck, they're starting already. Like 45 minutes early, they started them. But it looked like rain was coming in, so I'm sure they just jumped on it. So
Right.
so I went down there, and a bunch of people just hanging out, and I sat like on this, like one of these guardrails, and had kind of a nice view of it. And same thing, I mean, yes, I've seen fireworks before, but it was a decent view. So they're going through this thing and whatever, and at that point, I got down there and it's like 15 minutes worth of fireworks, and they do this, what to me seemed like the pre grand finale, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
got some stuff, got a few things going up. We all know what it is, and then there's usually a pause, and then they go fucking psycho, right?
Right.
And then it's like boom, boom, and you feel the shit in your chest and all this different stuff. When they paused, that was it. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, and then everyone around is like looking around, and I'm just sitting there for a minute. And I'm like, that's it, that's it.
That's it. That's all
I
you
was like,
get.
I'm like, that was terrible. That was awful. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fucking deal was, but then yeah, by the time I got back here, same thing for another. I mean, I was watching TV and whatever, and I went to bed. I don't know, like 11 o'clock or 11:30. And then it started. I mean, there's again these big booming fireworks. Whatever these fucking people have around here, they had some people spent some money on. There was
Mhm.
booming, like booming shit.
Right.
But then finally it started raining. I'm like, good. I'm like,
Right.
okay, now I can get some fucking sleep, because the people got rained out, but it was fine. It was good. Just
Right.
again, fireworks are fireworks and the same old shit. But I'm like, just like anything else. Let's check out what these fucking Arkansas fireworks are. Well, I tell you, everyone, fucking terrible. It was fucking terrible, just
Yeah,
terrible.
well, I mean, you're not exactly in a major metropolitan area either, so, they probably don't have the biggest budget in the world.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I didn't really think about that much. And yeah, I don't. I mean, so the town itself, kind of a cute little town in the
Mhm.
like the neighborhood area that I'm in. The house that I rented, it's like up on this big hill. When you look at it, I mean, the road is a pretty big incline up from where I am going up the hill, and then kind of this decent neighborhood. And the same thing as it's not as I don't want to say bad, but it's not under the same categories where I was in Texas, where you see some of these fucking rundown mobile homes and then nice houses
Mm.
and this and that.
Mhm.
A couple of rundown ones, a lot of older homes. This one's just this tiny little older home, not a place I'd want to be more than a few days. And I don't think I would have rented this if it was, long, even a week,
Right.
because well, first of all, it's got like one of those there's not central air, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But they
Mhm.
have, what those Mr. Cool air conditioners are, the ones that are kind of up on the wall, and you'll have vents that just kind of flow back and forth. I'm sure you've seen them. They
Yeah.
have them in a lot of small buildings and that sort of thing. But so that's in the kitchen. That pretty much it. The living room where I'm sitting right now is a little warmer, of course, in the kitchen, but it's fine. But upstairs, it's like attic area, right?
Mhm.
So they have a wall air conditioner, but it doesn't keep up like yesterday. It was warm up there, but after everything cooled down, I woke up at I don't know, like 3 in the morning. I was fucking cold. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But then these stairs, they're like really steep, and I mean, literally, it's almost like I can't walk up the stairs. You can't walk in the doorway to the bottom, and there's like as you're walking down, literally a picture of a duck on there,
Mm.
because I think if you were 5 feet tall, you'd be able to walk up and down those stairs without hitting it. I'm 6'2", and there's no fucking way. But
Right.
they're steep, and like the first step take is a little bit farther down. I'm like I'm taking my time. I don't need to fall up or down these goddamn stairs.
Mhm.
It's fine. I mean, it's fine. Kind of a small bathroom. This and that. The whole bit. It's an older home, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's comfortable and everything like that. But like I said, I don't think I'd want to be here, for a long term thing. But it's nice. I mean, it's a place I went today, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think we're probably close to taking a break. But it's fucking beautiful around here. Same deal. As I went by Branson again, drove by. I was laughing my ass off. I'm coming up by Branson, and there's a fucking Yakov theater off the highway.
Yeah.
I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I was there.
Alright.
But you know what's funny? So last thing before we take a quick break, when I went up to Walmart, 'cause I'm like, I can go to Walmart, get all the shit I need. I can get some actual groceries and meat, whatever there. I'm driving up this one road. It's like their business highway that goes up where again all the fast food places, other stores or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm driving up there. I'm like, why does this fucking look familiar? And I'm like,
Mhm.
I've never been here before. in my life. So I'm
Right.
like, why does this look familiar? And then I pull up to this intersection and I see this Casey's gas station, then a Shell across the street. I'm like, motherfucker. I said, I came through here when I went to Branson. When I came up from Texas, they routed me up this, whatever, I think it's Highway 65, but it comes
Hmm.
through the outskirts of this town. So I was literally here like a month ago.
That.
And I'm like, I had no idea that I was actually in Harrison like a month ago. So, but you know how it is. You see something, and you're like, there's no way I've ever been here.
Right.
I don't know why it looks familiar, but it seems like it does. But yeah, so I mean, again, the town's it's small, it's quaint, it's whatever. But yeah, it's cool enough. But I had fun hiking today, but I can talk about that in a minute. So for now, what do you think? Break time?
Yeah, let's take a break. All right. We'll be more we'll be back with more of this exciting travel log right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.sobernotmature.com, and we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's
Yes.
www.soberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can
Right.
access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And once again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.sobernotmatureshop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah. Yes, this kind of turns into every once in a while. Yeah, it does kind of turn into a travel log, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It is, I don't know. It's fun. I'm having a good time, and gives us some content to talk about. So I'll make this brief. We know I didn't get eaten by a bear. We know that. We know I didn't get eaten by anything.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a chance to post any of the pictures on Instagram yet, but I'll tell you what. This morning I walked down, or the first place I went, um, right down to you could pull in this parking lot and walk down. That's where people put in their kayaks and canoes and tubes, and then they got swimming areas. These bluffs, oh my god, they're fucking crazy. And the river level is kind of low, so I was able to walk down quite a bit right along the river. And then I went down like this one trail, got some pictures in there, and I went down this other trail that was supposed to be to this, like, it's off this campground, another area again with bluffs and stuff like that. These people swimming and climbing up and jumping off into the water. It's just, I mean, actually looked like a lot of fun. But this trail that I went down, which is this main trail, that 37-mile trail, whatever it was.
Right.
I think I walked, because I saw a sign from this campground that I went to. There was like this scenic overlook. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's like 1.7 miles out. I'm like, I can do that. I'll go out there and I'll come back.
Right.
Well, I read about this and now I see what they're talking about. That this time of year,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really see from this trail. You can't really see the river. You can
Mm-hmm.
see it, but too many leaves and all that sort
Right.
of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I get to one thing. I'm like, is this where the scenic overlook's supposed to be? I'm like, I'll walk a little bit further. Is this where it's supposed to be? Because it's all fucking grown over. But here's my other opinion of that trail. At least the part that I went on. I'm gonna go somewhere else, maybe a different part of it tomorrow. But is that and I don't know if this makes any sense, but it seems to me that this trail is like it's a travel trail. It's for because they have these things, go from this point to this point, go from this point to this point. And I think every whatever it is, probably every 7 to 10 miles, they've got a campground.
Mm,
So it's meant for that. It seems to me that it's meant for that. It's not that it's not cool and it's not pretty and there's different things to look at, but it really is. It almost just seems like this trail is made for traveling, for getting from one place to another, type
right.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not a problem, but just there wasn't as much, in my opinion, there wasn't as much to see. The river itself is fucking spectacular. I mean,
Hmm.
I just can't looking at these bluffs and all that shit down there, and I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking crazy. Oh, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how long do you think it takes for a spider web to be constructed?
I mean, it depends on a lot of things, but I don't know. I mean, they could do it in a few hours or a day or so. Yeah.
Okay. Because I really didn't know, but as I'm walking along this travel trail, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I hit a cobweb. I'm like, fuck. Then I hit another one on my arms or whatever. I'm like, wiping it off. And then I'm hitting it like every, seems like every 50 yards or something like that. I'm fucking right in my face. The one, I was looking to the side and I start walking forward, literally walked right face first into the spider, in the spider web.
Nice.
And I'm like, fuck me. I'm like, so then I started carrying a stick in front of me and just, there was spider webs all along there. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason I was asking timing is I'm like, okay, have people like not been through here in days? There was nobody I ran across nobody on the trail. No
Huh.
one. And
Yeah.
probably again, mile and a half out, mile and a half back. Um, a lot of people down at like the swimming holes and shit like that. But man, there was just I have not literally ran into so many spider webs. Number one in my life, but
Mm-hmm.
certainly not since I've been doing this. And I'm like, I wonder if you know that how long it takes to because on the way back, clearly, I mean, I cleared all out. They were
Right.
all over my fucking face and hair and every other part of me. But yeah, I don't know. It was it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It just like I say, it just seems I don't know. There's no better way to put it. It just seems like a travel trail. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, that's what all trails are, and roads and highways, and right.
Right.
How to get from one place to another.
Well, and maybe the a lot of the trails that I've been on, there's they call some of the trails are one way. They just go to a certain point and they stop
Mm-hmm.
and you can come back. And
Right.
then other ones are loop trails. So literally you're walking in a big loop around,
Right.
some of these
Yeah.
I'll say smaller trails. But I mean, yeah, this one is it's just it's like the freeway, I mean, you're just
Yep.
going from one place to another. I'm sure well there was one there was like a jut to go to another trail or something like that I ran across, but yeah, to your point, I mean that's literally what this is. It was I'm sure for, years and years that's how people got to where they were going, walking through these
Uh-huh.
damn trails.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's beautiful. I mean, I'm gonna go. There's another place. It's like I don't know, 45 minutes away. That one of the places I ran across. And again, while I'm here, it's supposed to be pretty picturesque. So I might do that. So
Go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get out there and walk around. I will be staying inside of my house.
right. um, but yeah, I'll try not to get eaten by a bear or anything else tomorrow. Also.
Well, that sounds like a good plan.
All right. So, one thing, this is the first time I think in a long, long time, unless we had a guest, where I didn't write down any new stuff. And I thought about it. I'm like, I got so many things on here. I'm just going to start, maybe even over the next couple of weeks, we'll just start clearing out some of this old stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, I mean, obviously it's all sober shit, majority of it.
Right.
So,
That's good.
um, yeah. We talked about all the travel stuff. So, um, who knows? We may have talked about some of these things. If it's things we talked about, we won't talk about it again. So, all right. So, do you agree with coincidences? Coincidences, and I'll qualify that. It was in a day at a time. It says showing up at the right place at exactly the right time, phoning a friend who, unbeknownst to you, desperately needed a particular phone call at
Hmm.
that particular moment, hearing my story, quote unquote, at an unfamiliar meeting in a strange town. Do you think it's a higher power thing? Do you think it's a coincidence thing? What do you think about those type of things?
I don't. um, yeah, I don't know. Well, as an atheist, it's clearly not a higher power thing. Right place, right time. I don't know. It's being open to hearing things and having other people being open to, getting what they need out of this world. You can miss a lot of shit too if you're not open to it. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I need to hear or needed to hear or will need to hear that I will miss. That's just whatever. If I'm paying attention, though, there's a good chance that I will catch something that I can relate to and will help me along this little journey of mine. Um, yeah, coincidence. Like I said, I don't think about it. I keep myself as open as I can to catch things that I may or may not need, and hopefully people around me do that as well. So maybe if I'm running my mouth, that they'll catch something that they need. But that's not up to me.
But even if you don't, and that's a reason I brought that up. And I know you don't believe in and we joke about that, the
Uh
universe
huh.
and this and that, or
Right.
these when people say they're God shots or whatever the fuck people call
Mm-hmm.
them.
Uh huh.
Again, all that fine. Do
Right.
you think what you
If
want?
that
All that stuff. I
works
don't.
for
I don't
you,
care.
sure.
Right.
But that's you
But
being open to the shit to catch it. Because trust me, if you're not open to it, you're not going to catch it. I don't give a fuck who you think is running the show.
right. And that was kind of what I was getting to, is because that even though you don't consciously think about it, you do something with your life to make
Right.
sure that you're available for those
Mm-hmm.
things, for
Mm-hmm.
those moments,
Right.
and they don't necessarily have to be, it doesn't have to be, a coincidence. There doesn't even have to be a label put on any of it.
Yeah. Right.
Again, making the phone call and that sort of thing, or somebody's like, I was just thinking about you. Well, what a weird coincidence, I mean, that
Right.
sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the same thing. I've had that happen a lot. I walk into a meeting, and we hear it in the rooms all the time. I needed to hear that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this, and then I show up at a meeting and this is talked about.
Right.
But again, to your point, and I'm glad you put it that way, because I didn't think about that. Is that being open to it? I'm sure, not even sure. I know for a fact, for years, people were telling me things about, and I'm not even talking. And I'm not even talking
Right.
about just my drinking, but
Mm-hmm.
people were giving me advice and
Mm-hmm.
direction
Mm-hmm.
about life, for
Right.
years, and I didn't hear it, didn't want to hear it, or didn't
Mm-hmm.
didn't have my mind open enough to really take it in,
Right.
which also goes back right to us planting seeds, like you said. If you're flapping your gums, and
Mm-hmm.
you say something that maybe it plants a seed with somebody, and they're like,
Right.
hey, okay, somewhere down
Right.
the road, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right. They run into whatever in their life and they go, "Oh shit, man! That dude over there was talking about that. I remember that. Oh hell, maybe I know how to handle this because I heard somebody talk about it before." Right. Again, it's being open. And to your point, get off your ass and going to that meeting to be able to hear that thing. Yes, we have to take actions. We are responsible for our own destiny. And if I lock myself in a room and don't listen to anybody, I'm not going to fucking hear anything.
Yeah, I just I'm like I said, I'm glad you explained it that way, because that really did that. My mind was open to hear it.
Hmm. Yeah. Right.
Apparently.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And I mean, I can go to a meeting and not pay attention and not, whatever, sit there on my phone, which plenty of people do. Yeah. And, you're going to miss it, man. You've got to do the groundwork. You've got to make yourself available for the shit. Otherwise you're not going to get any of it. I don't
Right.
care who you think is running it. Right.
Yeah, and that's a great point. That's actually a really really good point. It did regardless of whether it's if somebody believes in the man in the sky, or it's Buddhism, or it's whatever the deal is, whatever people believe in, if you're not open to taking the information, you're not going to hear it anyhow.
Exactly.
Nice. I like that. So look at that. That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, let me make a note. That was a good one. Okay.
All right.
Right. Um all right, so God Grant Me was talking about laughter. When do
Hmm.
you think you started laughing again after getting sober? Maybe better yet, when do you think you really started to enjoy yourself after we got sober?
Mm. Still waiting. No. Oh.
All right. Good night, everybody.
No. That was one of the nice things about the structure of the Keating Center, or the open times and whatever, us just, sitting under the tent, shooting the shit with people. I mean, the fellowshipping, being forced to be around other people, because God knows, the last hell 5 years, probably longer than that I was out there drinking and using. I wasn't really around people. I isolated, and being forced to be with people, forced me to interact with those people, and yeah, with it, Jesus Christ, we are not a glum lot. And I read that somewhere,
Right.
and and I mean, and we have a very sometimes dark, sometimes morbid sense of humor about the situations that we've put ourselves in, which is good. We kind of have to. And yeah, I mean, pretty early on, I mean, you better start fucking laughing at yourself, man, because it's not going to be fun if you can't do that. Um, yeah, so I mean, pretty early, I started, loosening up and acclimating myself to being a part of the human race again. And yeah, it wasn't too long till I was laughing, genuinely laughing. And as far as having a good time, I was kind of kidding, but I don't know, man. I still, shit, 14 plus years into this thing, I'm still trying to figure out how to actually have a good time, because I was chemically having a good time my entire fucking life. Um, I'm still working on that. I'm content. I'm peaceful. I'm not all bound up inside anymore. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever gonna like have a really good fucking time anymore. And that's okay, man. Again, back to that middle, back to that average. I kind of maybe don't want to have that good of a time anymore. I kind of burn those points up a long time ago. Yeah,
Right.
I'm happy. I'm not sad. I'm not angry. I'm not. Yeah, it's fucking enough, man. Good time. I don't know what the fuck is it. Throwing candy at kids' heads was pretty fun.
Well, and that's kind of my point, with that too, is that the point I was going to make, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you think about what has changed, or the things that have changed, over the years from. And first of all, I agree with you with the Keating Center. I hadn't even thought about that right away.
Mm,
Figure the we talked about the Memorial Day weekend. I mean,
right.
that was a fucking blast. And yeah, the dark humor and all those sort of things. And like you said, sitting under the tent and shooting the shit with these guys. Once we got to know them so easily within the first 30 days. I
Mm-hmm.
would say. And then trying to and having fun and enjoying ourselves in that's changed. I know it's changed for me over the years. What I like to do, what I'm comfortable doing. We talked about concerts.
Right.
I mean, 10 years ago, I was not comfortable going to a concert. I had no
Mm-hmm.
desire to. I didn't want to. I would literally go into, if I went into, again, like an Applebee's or a Chili's or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and the server was going to take me into the, Derek and I, into the bar area. Even at the seats, I'm like, can we sit out in the dining room area? I didn't
Right.
want. I wasn't comfortable doing that, and that was
Mm-hmm.
5-6 years. The other thing too is I wouldn't go into a bar and have a fucking hamburger. We did that when we went down to Dr. Bob's.
Right.
I've done that with, well, my kids. When for Father's Day we went to
Hmm.
that restaurant. It was a bar. It was a bar
Yeah.
restaurant. I mean,
Yeah.
but in the name was something bar and grill, where
Right.
I would usually, literally, I would, in my head, if it said, like, I don't know, Applebee's neighborhood grill and bar. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, that's okay because it's restaurant first that has a bar. But literally, it made me uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't bother me anymore. Going places by myself, I didn't just go off and do shit on my own.
Hmm.
I don't know. Either I wasn't comfortable. I'm like, I don't want to sit there and fucking just go someplace by myself. And now I
Right.
love it.
Well, yeah.
And
Right.
well, and to you too. Whether it's sitting down and watching a baseball game or going and
Hmm.
throwing candy at kids. I mean, you have different things that you do, as opposed to what you did, 10 years ago, even
Oh, yeah.
3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
gotta change. It changes over the years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, getting older either helps or doesn't help. I'm not sure and don't care. Um,
Right.
but yeah. Again, I mean, yeah, right. Going to do. I mean, I live a mile away from Edgewater Park, right on Lake Erie here, the main beach in Cleveland. It's where the fireworks are at. I mean, I don't want to go down there. That just does not appeal to me at all the
Right.
crazy, fuck all that. No thanks. But yeah, but marching in the parade was nice. Getting up early on my day off and going and yeah, that was fine. Um, I don't know, man. Yeah, but I was very happy to get home. Chris and I went out and had breakfast afterwards, and then she dropped me off. She went home to do her thing. I came and sat on my couch and watched fucking Guardians kick the White Sox ass. It was nice. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough, man. Yeah, and going places by myself. I mean, I'm going hell. Couple weeks on the 24th. I'm going to the Indians game. The Indians, I still do that. The Dians, the Guardians, whatever the fuck they are, the Tigers are in town. I'm going by myself. I got myself a good ticket. Probably spent more than I should have, but who gives a fuck? And I'm going and I'm sitting there and I'm going to watch the baseball game and fucking thoroughly enjoy myself. Yeah, that's that. I mean, I was talking to my granddaughter about that the other day. I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the game." She's like, "You going by yourself?" I said, "Yeah, damn right I am." I want to watch the game. I don't want to sit there and socialize. I don't want. That's what I want to do. I love baseball. Um, and no distractions. Watch the game. Get a hot dog and get a bag of peanuts, and watch the game and enjoy it. And leave there and remember the game and go home and get up and go to work the next day.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you did that last year, and you've done that quite a few times. Going to
Hmm.
a game, and you know what? Whether it's a baseball game or anything like that,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that these days I would have a problem doing that, because
Hmm.
I remember years ago when, I have no idea who it was that I was talking to, and this was a long, long time ago, long before I ever got sober.
Hmm.
But somebody had said they didn't feel comfortable going into a restaurant and eating by themselves.
Mm.
And I'm like, I fucking do that all the time, because that
Right.
I was traveling for work. I was doing this. I would be out doing stuff for work, and I'd stop someplace for lunch.
Right.
I do it all the time. And what I used to do was, when I ate lunch, I'd buy a paper, a newspaper, because I
Hmm.
didn't have a cell phone back then,
Right.
and I'd sit there and, obviously read a newspaper while I was eating lunch. Now,
Hmm.
when I was traveling, while I was still drinking, there used to be this bar where you could play trivia, and they had this great salad and a good steak, and it was all I could expense a certain portion every day.
Uh-huh.
So it was a free fucking dinner, a steak dinner. Um, but I'd sit I'd sit in the bar area, and then, in front of the big TV, and play trivia and fucking drink beer. But I
Right.
mean, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And these days, I don't mind going someplace like that by myself. But again, it's all of that has to do with, I don't know, probably just coming in and, getting just comfortable in our own skin in general, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I talked about it on here. I mean, I went and saw that Alice Cooper concert
Right.
by myself. I was like 3 months sober at that point, maybe 4. That was rough. That was a little rough, man. Going there and because I went by myself and going to a concert, but once the music started, once the band started, and I was watching the show, and thankfully Alice is a show. I loved it. I had a great fucking time watching the band, watching him perform. But I mean, it was a little early. I probably shouldn't have done that, but hey, I got through it, so fuck it.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of that, so I told you that I bought Dennis Dunaway's book.
Oh
So I started listening to that on the way down here. So I'm guessing you read the book, right?
yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I think again, maybe it's 13 hours, maybe it's 14, whatever the deal is. I think
Hmm.
I'm probably 4 hours into it because again,
Okay.
9-hour drive. I was listening to
Right.
podcasts, whatever. And you know what? Nothing that I really just like picked apart and said, "Ooh, I want to talk about this or I want to talk about that" type of thing.
Hmm.
I'm just really fucking enjoying listening to him, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm probably, if I had to guess, I'm probably 4 hours into it.
Hmm.
They're to the point right now where they've become, now the Alice Cooper group and
Right.
this and that, and from all the other things. What cracked me up though is that the different names. They're like, "Yep," but now we found out another band has the name. They have a
Right.
record, so that we're gonna pick this fucking name that nobody's gonna come up with. What was it? The Nas or something like that?
The Naz. Yeah.
Nas, and then yeah, whatever it was like John Richards in the Nas, and he's like, "Fuck," we had to think of another name.
It was,
It's
yeah.
just,
Todd Rundgren, actually, but yeah.
oh, was it?
Yeah.
I was just making up a name. I couldn't remember what it was, but no, literally, I'm just kind of getting engulfed in his story.
Hmm.
The only funny thing because you didn't listen to the audiobook, I'm guessing,
No.
right?
No.
Okay, so he's one that speaking of comfortable, and that's kind of what made me think about it. But also when you
Hmm.
said Alice Cooper thing, you can tell that he's not comfortable reading off a piece of paper
Right.
in that thing because every once in a while he'll yes that one day we did a he does that, which again it's not distract to begin with. The
Uh-huh.
first couple of probably first half hour I'm like, ooh, this might be distracting, but it's once I got kind of engulfed in the story, I noticed that
Hmm.
every once in a while, but not a big deal. Doesn't take away from anything that he's talking about, but man, it's just been enjoyable,
Hmm.
and again, nothing to pick out. You read the book, it talks about their progression and their growth and how
Sure.
they came together, and far different than Rob Halford's,
Hmm.
audio book.
Right.
But I don't mean that in a bad way.
Right.
It's just at a different level. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, listening to it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And Dennis is a great guy too. So yeah, smart dude and whatever. Been around and done a lot of shit. So yeah, it's cool stuff.
right.
We are. Well, clearly I recognize him, but he actually recognizes me. So that's always fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean we've met on several occasions. I've gone to see him. He's got his band now is Blue Coop, which
Oh,
is
yeah. Okay.
it's him and the Bouchard brothers from Blue Oyster Cult.
Okay.
And so yeah, every time they come to Cleveland, I go see them, and they've done stuff at the Rock Hall since he's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now. Yeah, so like yeah, and I've book signings and blah 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 blah. I've met the guy shit probably a dozen times now, and he recognizes me now, which is fun.
Yeah, I mean that's cool because you're right. I mean, he seems like just a genuinely good
Yeah,
guy, you
right.
know.
Been
But
married forever to the drummer's sister.
yep. Oh, that was going to say there was two things. A money thing I want to tell you about in a minute, but the whole thing with the drummer's sister,
Hmm.
his encounter is like, and I ran across the blonde again.
Right.
And then he tells the story, and he's like, then he walks away, whatever it was. And it's like the one time she's talking, whatever, and he's like, man, it's hot out here, isn't it? And then he's like, yeah. And then she just walked away, and I'm like,
Yep.
I'm fucking laughing my ass off. But
Hmm.
when he
Yeah,
was
they've been
still
married for like 50 years now, so yeah.
well, and I haven't even gotten to the point yet
Right.
where
Yeah.
where they got married. But
Hmm.
so the other thing he was still living at home, and he was sitting at the table talking to his dad or whatever, and his dad starts kind of he's counseling him a little bit on his choices, as
Uh-huh.
maybe what his life choice is and whatever. And
Uh-huh.
he's like, thankfully I just picked up or just got paid a bunch of money or whatever it was. So he said he pulled the cash out and spread it out along the table, and he said that's the last time my dad's ever questioned my choice or whatever it was. And I'm like, that's fucking perfect. And
Uh-huh.
he didn't say like, fuck you, dad, look at what I'm making. He just
Mhm.
took the money, and I can picture just spreading the money out on the table.
Yep.
Uh, Easiest way to, shut somebody up. Just like, no, I'm okay. I'm good.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I'm doing okay here. But no, I just say seriously, it's I'm enjoying it. So who knows? Maybe there will be something that'll pop out that I'll kind of write down or remember. But no, I wanted to tell you that yeah, I'm just enjoying the shit out of it. So
Cool.
thank you for the recommendation. So
Mhm.
here's another one, and I'm looking back on one of my. This is off of one of the other pages, but kind of another higher power thing, but in a different way.
Mhm.
This was from Keep It Simple. Today, I'll make a list of times my higher power has helped me out of trouble, and I I put in parentheses. Do you think it's a higher power that keeps you out of trouble? Now, along the same lines, what you were talking about before, but kind of a little bit different. So yeah, what do you think of that, Mike?
I will tell you, Bill. Yes, the powers greater than myself in my life have definitely kept me out of trouble. I mean, I'm not shy about it. One of the powers, I don't talk about all of them, but one of them is AA. Absolutely, is a power greater than myself that I'm a part of. And yeah, you bet your ass it's kept me out of trouble, um, all the time. Um, Yes, yes, the higher power, a power greater than me, has kept me out of trouble many times. Just teaching me how to act like a human being, how to not let my emotions run my life, to remind me that there are principles involved in this thing that I have to use as guides. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, on that, yes, my higher power has kept me out of trouble. How about that? This atheist just fucking said that. Deal with that.
Yeah, and quite honestly, the reason I said yes. So, what do you think about that, Mike?
Mhm.
I thought you were going to be like, I don't. That's kind of what I thought. But no, you see, every once in a while, still 14 years later, 14 plus years later, you still
Uh-huh.
surprise me. But then again, that shouldn't have surprised me because you've talked about that before.
Mhm.
And I know that, like for me, I did not have any. I did not have any higher power. I Let me put it this way: I did not acknowledge any power greater than myself before I got
Mhm.
sober.
Right.
So the way that I looked at this was obviously after I got sober.
Mhm.
And same deal. I mean, yeah, whether it's AA, whether it's I don't believe in divine intervention or anything like
Mm.
that. People are put into our path. I do believe that somehow these
Mm.
people come into our paths at the right time. But that goes back to what we were talking about before. I have to be open to meeting that person or putting
Yep.
myself in their path also,
Yep.
or hearing the message or that sort of thing. So, some dudes at a meeting, and he says something, or maybe this person could be somebody either influential or could add to my life. But the
Mhm.
same deal, like you said, I'm playing on my phone or I'm not paying attention or whatever, I may never get an opportunity to meet that person. I mean, shit, we could go back to you and I mean, there was no fucking reason in the world. I mean, yeah, we were put together, but we were
Mhm.
also put together with at least 25 of the other guys in that place. We didn't have to do stuff with everyone,
Right.
but so why us? And it just again I had to have been open to something, right? I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's a divine intervention, because we joked about that.
Right.
Ooh, the universe kept putting us together.
No, we just we didn't fucking leave.
Right,
Which we could have. That gate
right.
was never locked, man. Those doors were never locked. We could have left at any time. We chose to stay there. And, by choosing that, we got put together. Yes, we were both there at the same time. There you go.
Well, and you even think back to the 3/4 dorm and the people that were in the 3/4 dorm with us while we were at the Keating Center. I mean, two of those people are dead. Because
Yeah.
there was Dominic was one, and then the
Hmm.
other dude that drove his truck off the bridge or jumped off the bridge or whatever,
Right.
because he was in and out of that 3/4 dorm.
Hmm.
Pete turned out to be a normie, if that
Yeah.
is it is. Tom is what it is. Also, if Tom went
Right.
on his way, who else was in there with us? Is that the six that were in there? I'm trying to remember now, but
Mm-hmm. Was
you know,
Michael in there with us or not?
no, he was
No, he was.
still
Yeah, he was in the other. He just went to the house when we went.
right,
Yeah,
right,
but yeah, right. And Uncle Frankie's still around, and
right.
yeah, there's definitely. Yeah, right. I don't know. It's none of it's up to me. I know that. Other than staying and doing what I'm supposed to do, and as long as I do that, then the rest of it's going to work itself out.
Right. Yeah, we stuck around long enough, and as people started to get weeded out, we were kind of and again, I was the last one standing in the 3/4 room, and you're like, guess you'll do.
Yep.
that was the that was like that was that crossroad right there, it's just like, well, you're the only fucking one left. I guess we're rooming together. If we
Yep.
if we if
Exactly.
we if we're gonna go over to the 3/4 house, I guess we have to live in the same room together.
Hmm.
But no, I was just I don't know. Again, that was a good answer because I wasn't sure how you might answer that one about the whole higher power thing. But I agree. I
Hmm.
mean, same deal. It goes back to the other point of being open,
Uh-huh.
obviously to all of that stuff. So
Yeah, the choices that we make, man, choices and consequences, and thankfully, sometimes those consequences are good.
right, exactly. Um, okay, so again, don't know when or why I wrote this down, but responding versus reacting.
Mm.
How are you now versus how you were in early sobriety
Hmm.
when somebody hits you with something that would normally cause a reaction? So, whatever, pick a topic, pick a thing, but um, once again, how are you now versus how you were in early sobriety when somebody hits you with something that you would normally cause a reaction?
Right. Well, yeah, I'm I'm much better at it because I practiced. I practiced that responding rather than reacting. I don't react very much anymore, which is good. I don't want to. Doesn't work out well when I do. Um, yeah, man. It's yes, I have to react, not or respond, not react. Um, which takes thought, takes again choices, man. Taking that minute, not letting my emotions and my feelings, rule things. Yes. Um, Going, okay, here's the situation. Yeah, right. They catch you by surprise. You're not prepared for them, which is fine. Um, I can't sit here and try to plan for anything that's going to happen in my life. I don't know. Shit's going to happen, and other than having that attitude of yeah, shit's going to happen. And don't react to it, respond to it. Take that beat and think about it, and maybe take several beats, and maybe make a phone call, maybe talk to somebody else before you respond. That's important. You don't have to. You don't. Again, that's react. You don't have to react. You have to respond. And sometimes that response is going to take a little while because you've got to work it out, and hopefully not by yourself, with some other people. And yeah, yes, don't fucking react, man. It doesn't work. It
Right.
doesn't work. I mean, occasionally, I suppose it will, but not often and not very well. So, yes, respond. That's a huge difference. And again, it comes with the practice and working those muscles. And yes, today, yeah, I respond, and don't expect an instant response because that's reacting.
Right. Well, and I said it before, and kind of jokingly, but I'm pretty thankful at certain points, for a text message or an email.
Hmm. Right.
um, nobody leaves voicemails anymore. I'm not saying they don't, but I mean,
Mm.
for the most part, somebody's going to text or worst case, email you.
Hmm.
Um, but at least you have a chance to look at it and be like, fuck,
Right.
um, and be like, what? we always talk about, I don't want to fucking do that. I don't want to go there. I want to do that. I don't want anything,
Mm-hmm.
but that gives us that technology, a good, finally a good thing with technology,
Mm-hmm.
allows us that opportunity to pause. Sometimes though, because it's it could be a facial expression or whatever.
Mm.
If somebody hits you with something in person, but I
Uh-huh.
always try to take literally take a breath, or try not to have, because a facial expression is a reaction,
Mhm.
and sometimes I don't mean to,
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, it's involuntary most of the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Ew. Yes.
Yeah,
Ew.
exactly. No. Oh.
But it's yeah, but I think that comes with in the what I thought about with the early sobriety thing is the fact that we didn't know how to not react. I think is
Hmm.
the
Oh,
best,
yeah,
maybe the best way to put it. Um,
absolutely.
I used to shoot first and ask questions later,
Hmm.
and then you got to clean up again. We were talking about making a bench. You got to clean up the mess and all the sort of things, which again I never did.
Hmm.
I never tried to clean shit up, before I got sober. Be
Right.
like, well, fuck, fuck you then. If you
Yeah.
don't want like my answer.
Yeah. You
Um,
don't like my reaction. That's your fucking problem.
right, right. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think for the most part that it's a thankfully it's a well, it is a learned behavior, and thankfully
Hmm.
we were taught how to learn that, because that's
Hmm.
the other thing too. That
Right.
I mean, seriously, I
Yes.
I know that sounds funny, but
No.
people had to teach us how to learn again
Hmm.
too.
Yes. Yeah. Well, because we knew everything.
Right,
Right. Why the fuck do I
yeah,
have to learn anything? I know it all.
right.
Hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm at the Keating Center.
Right. I've got my life together. That's why I'm sitting here with 40 other fucking guys, and
Right.
you know have no
Eating
place to go, and
4-day-old chicken.
no no place to go, and nobody that wants me there anyhow. So, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting, because that was me. I was always a reactionary person, but I like the way
Hmm.
you said that. Under that circumstances, don't I wouldn't say don't ever react, because if
No.
somebody gives you good news, then you're like, hey,
Yeah,
then
right.
then we can react happily, right?
Sure.
Because then, I mean, no reaction if somebody gives you good news. They're like, "What the fuck, man? That was rude."
Yeah. Yeah. But I think actually it kind of bleeds into it. We respond in a positive way. We don't
Mhm.
really react because it's not, I don't know, it's not part of my life anymore. Yeah, I
Right.
respond in a positive way because you've given me good news. So thank you. And I'm grateful for it. And again, that's my response too. That's not, my old reaction was, yeah, well, of course, motherfucker, you better be doing something nice for me. Don't you know who I think I am?
Hey, exactly. Don't you know who I think I am? Still one of my favorite fucking lines, and we've been using
Mm-hmm.
that for long, long before we started doing this.
Yep.
But all right. So I think I have just one more. So I don't even remember where I got this from, but it says, "Am I a person who has more trouble letting go or more trouble hanging on?"
Mm.
So let me read that. This might be a thinking one, right? So,
Uh-huh.
am I a person who has more trouble letting go or more trouble hanging on? Back to you, Mike. Over to you, Mike.
Why, thanks, Bill. And my answer to that is yes. Um, yeah, of course, I have trouble hanging on and I have trouble letting go. Um, hmm, it's shit.
I know.
Yeah, right. That's kind of it, and still, man, still working on this, trying to find that balance of the things I need to hang on to. I mean, that's what inventories are for, and figuring out the good stuff that you got to hang on to and the bad stuff you got to let go of. And yeah, of course, I still want to hang on to some of the bad stuff, and I still want to let go of some of the good stuff. Um, yeah, work in progress, man. That's one I'll probably never get perfectly, but I'm gonna keep working on it. Yeah, the easy answer is yes. I have trouble with both. you know?
Right. No, when I must have gotten that because it, the way I copied it was, "Am I a person?" So it had to have been from a reading.
Hmm.
I would assume, but I didn't I
Right.
didn't make a note of which it was from. But I'm thinking about this as you're talking. I'm like, okay, no, I'm better at this one. I'm like, wait a second, but no, this one because I first thing I'm thinking about the letting go part. I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
somebody that's bad in my life, oh,
Right.
bad for my sobriety.
Hmm.
I've had that happen. Not that it's easy, but
Hmm.
I know it's a decision I've made, and I know I can do that. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, that I don't have trouble with, and I'm like the hanging on, but I'm like, shit, I know there's some things in my life that maybe I need to change, or maybe it's taking me
Hmm.
time, or maybe things I should do, and I'm like, fuck, but okay, you know what? I think the acceptable answer on that one is yes, because,
Yes.
um, I mean, I know okay, let's go back to a relationship.
Hmm.
I've had a couple, one in particular, but I probably had a
Hmm.
couple, of relationships with members of the opposite sex,
Hmm.
that were, as I look back at it now, I don't know if toxic is the right word. I've told stories,
Hmm.
I've told other people before. I'm like, it's completely unhealthy and completely toxic, which I don't know
Right.
that it was, but
Hmm.
probably not good relationships.
Right.
But maybe one part of it was really fucking good. So
Yeah. Right.
um, I kept hanging on to that, and that was hard to let go. So it's both.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, oh fuck. But then I had a relationship that I knew I'm like, I can't be around you because of this. I'm like,
Hmm.
I get easy, but then I can't let go of that. I don't know. It's a, it's an, I don't know if it's impossible, but that's a ridiculously difficult question to
It
answer.
is. Right.
You know?
Other than saying yes.
Yeah, just okay, just literally admitting defeat and saying, "Yep, I'm
Yep.
I'm just I'm just an average guy over here doing average things." And
Absolutely. Yeah, that's just it, man. Yes, I'm good at both of them, and I'm bad at both of them. Yes.
right, and you know what? Since we literally brought that around full circle to the reading, what do you think?
Mhm.
Should we be fucking done? I think we
You
should
know
be.
what? I think we should. Yeah,
Yeah, let's do
we've been
that.
doing this for a while. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, go out there, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. Now it's time. Oh boy, is it time. It's time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
Once again, boy, is it time for you to fuck off. Which, yeah, it is. It just, I don't know. I figured we ended on a brain teaser, and it wrapped around nicely. And I don't know. I cleaned up a couple of things off my list, but maybe who knows? Maybe next week we'll do the same thing. But yeah, we still got God only knows how long. We were talking about possibly having a repeat guest on. We're not going to bring it up yet until we
Uh-huh.
speak to the individual, but
Right.
hopefully we can have that particular guest. I don't know. I mean, one way or the other, if we have guests on, I don't know your opinion, but I mean, sometimes it's cool if we get the right guest. But it's been a long time since we've reached out. Well, Gary, we asked to come back on, and
Mm-hmm.
oh, by the way, he sent an email about something. Did you notice? Oh, the I responded to his email that
Mm-hmm.
you responded to because I didn't realize that he had you copied on there.
Yeah.
I was so used to him, just emailing the sober not mature email, so I just did
Right.
reply and not reply all. But I did respond to that. But
Oh, cool.
I was just thinking that it's just funny that he calls himself. You notice he calls himself the number one fan,
Yep.
which is true. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, unless anyone out there wants to try to, knock that motherfucker off of his horse, he is our number
Right.
one. He's our
He
number one
is.
fan. So, and if any of you ladies out there, we could have a female number one fan, and
Right.
then Gary, we'll take one of each. We'll take them all.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll take y'all.
Yeah,
Get out there and fight over us.
yeah, exactly. All right, enough. So we are done. So hey, I love you, brother.
I love you too.
All right, we'll talk soon.
We will see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.